but like, it's the same way with me. Like, beginning of the year, I would defend them a little bit, and I'd be like, Gordo, you got to chill out, okay? The yellow alien didn't do nothing to you. Now,
they've actually done a lot to me.
I am in the same boat as you. Like, I have nothing.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Salt Mine. We've been on a little... It doesn't even count as a hiatus because we did 2 episodes last week, but we had to reschedule recording this one a couple of times. So
It's been a bit inconsistent lately, I think, is what we're trying to say.
yeah, it's been a long time since we've done a Friday recording because Friday has been ACL historically. So we're recording this on the night of the 22nd before it becomes dated. So we just finished up winners round 2 of the NACL Playoffs, the final best of 3s to be played. People are, as they always do, realizing that these rounds were still best of 3s in real time and getting upset about it. Just always a fun time whenever you're dealing with new formats or weird formats, and we have both this year. But I'm Gordo. Quax is the only one who could join me here tonight. Everybody else has got tons of stuff going on. But how are you, Quax?
I'm good. Obviously we casted the last regular season best of 3 yesterday for ACL between Weber and Komodo. Congratulations to Komodo on that front for getting back in there. That was a really fun series to cast with you, Gordo. But other than that, just kind of letting the news hit me. I feel like there's a lot that's actually happened over the past week, not just in ACL, but obviously the OQ rosters have been announced, which we'll be talking about. There's some LTA drama that we'll be talking about. And, both LTA North and LTA South are included in this drama, by the way. And then basically just covering all our bases here, because this is kind of the moment where playoffs begin to happen for just about everybody, which is always an exciting transitional period for the season.
Yeah, definitely. So let's start off with a little bit of that news. OQs have been announced. OQs did not fill. They did not get 64 teams. So this means a couple of things. One, it means that there are not 64 teams interested in participating in this OQ, or at least not 64 teams who are interested in participating in this OQ and heard about the OQ. That was not especially well advertised, at least in my opinion. I don't even think... Did it get a shout out on LTA? I don't know. I don't even know if shouting out on LTA is enough anymore with how LTA viewership is looking. So either way, I think word didn't especially get out. That's one thing that it means. The other thing that it means is that literally anybody who signed up would have gotten in. So I'm not even...
We could have signed up again, Gordo. We could have been Hardstuck Casterlo on their second redemption run, but
well, we wouldn't even. First of all, we weren't even bottom seed as Hardstuck Casterlo, and
we weren't.
We definitely wouldn't have been bottom seed here. Like, that's the other thing. Is like, at least last split, Hardstuck Casterlo made it in, but there are teams of like gold players that did not make it in. I haven't looked. You know what? I should look right now, live on recording. How low elo is the bottom team?
I mean, we have a team called Timu Gold, so I don't know what that entails.
That's surely that's the color of the medal they're going to win, and not the rank that they are. Yes.
I mean, I don't know, man. You haven't casted low elo leagues in a really long time, but you've got teams naming themselves like after their rank all of the fucking time. But in all honesty, like, I think a lot of people are going to look at this open qualifier as another point of proof that the pipeline is starting to constrict itself and starting to fade. And I feel like recent events, Gordo, I know we didn't discuss this on the pre-show, but a lot of people might actually be pointing to like the recent news about Riot cracking down on win trading, cracking down on boosting, all of that stuff that Drew Levin has been posting on Twitter. I think a lot of people are internally linking the lack of OQ teams to that, just as well as they are possibly the lack of actual advertising going on. Are you okay? But yeah, I mean, unless
I
you live
found
under a
them.
rock.
I found what the lowest ranked team in the OQ is.
All right,
Hang
hit me
on.
with it. What is it?
I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna DM it to you. Let's get a live reaction. Live Quax reaction.
Okay. All right, hit me. Okay. Okay, so you guys can't see our screen. I don't know, Gordo. Maybe you can like edit this screenshot and
if I
somewhere.
care enough to do it, sure. Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
maybe you can block out Grom
It
for some
is
shit.
2 gold 3 players, a gold 4 player, a silver 1 player, and a silver 4 player.
Yo, that's our next scrim, by the way. I've decreed it.
One guy peaked plat.
Yes, congratulations to him. In all honesty, though, like kind of going back to the Drew Levin riot situation, like that has been a major unless you live under a rock or I don't know, simply don't have Twitter. One of Riot's, I think, lead. He's not a balance designer. I think he's a product manager or something like that. Is Just a Capybara, right? Just a Capybara, aka Drew Levin, who has been like extremely active on Twitter. Basically anything from like bugs to self-reports to banning challenger players for 30 entire days IP style. He has been on it. And I feel like a lot of people, this was a major point that you actually got involved in, Gordo, along with some others like Miliana. You guys were like, okay, well, nowadays players are kind of at that age range where they need to show some sort of financial proof to their parents, if they're not already out of the house, that they are capable of, subsidizing themselves, not finding an actual job and allowing themselves to continue on this pro path. And a lot of that does come from boosting. Even some older players, some veterans of the scene, like I Will Dominate, like DeMonte, have gone on record saying like, yeah, we used to do this shit all the time. And if they don't allow this, if they don't at the very least phase this out slowly and just kind of snap their fingers and like Thanos away a bunch of players, like the scene is going to die. And so I think that people are going to see that argument and side with it when they look at this open qualifier, not even managing to get 64 teams of any skill level, right? As we saw, the lowest ones are gold and silver, whereas the previous open qualifiers had, the TOs rejecting people and, picking and choosing, even if it was just a few teams getting eliminated. So it's kind of interesting to talk about, Gordo. Do you think that kind of adds on to more proof about the pipeline being in trouble, or do you think it's like a timing coincidence and it's largely due to the lack of advertising for this open qualifier?
I mean, I think it's a few things. I think it's not just lack of advertising. I think it's also like confidence in the NACL is at an all-time low in regards to what its future is going to look like and what it actually means to like operate in this league. Like at the end of the day, like this is yes, it's a tournament that qualifies you to a league that qualifies you to the LTA, but it's also a tournament that qualifies you to like a financial obligation to participate in this league that takes place on weekdays during the workday and like where most players competing for you expect to be making something. Because of the quote unquote prestige that the league requires. Like it's tough, right? It's like it's not. Yes, you could do it as a player run org and stuff now, and I'm sure some groups of people would like, try even if they don't have any real expectations of being able to make it, but. It's tough to ask orgs to go in and do that. A, because I think there's fewer orgs interested in even participating in the NACL, and
B, there's few popping up regularly. Like I agree with you on that point.
Yeah,
like,
and I mean, it's like not only are they not super interested in participating, but I mean, our friend of the show Sneezes had a tweet out recently talking about how he is disappointed that certain players who are showing good competitive results in ACL can't get spots on good qualifier teams. And I've kind of brought it up. Like, I think reducing OQs to 2 to 3 weekends out of every
just
6
reducing
months.
the teams as well. Like,
yeah, it's just like
this was a problem that we had with ACL, right? Like for those of you who don't know, like Gordo, Duan, Dakar, and I sat in a Discord call trying to figure out the ACL format, and like we had how many people, like how many teams signed up or something like that? There was like there was more than 32.
Yeah,
that's for sure. And we had to like reduce. We wanted to do 32, and then you guys reduced it to 24 and made the schedule work around that. So I feel like not only does there need to be that reduction, there needs to be like there seriously needs to be like a rework of the system, because although the like Swiss stage into GSL of 2024 had its issues, I feel like it was marginally better than the 64 team clusterfuck that we have nowadays, because not only I think is it difficult for is it more difficult to organize, obviously, because there's more teams. It doesn't give the actual good players that, you know, are showing up in ACL, are showing up in CLOL, and are, you know, trying to transition that into a bigger spotlight, aka the OQs, or at least the OQs are supposed to be a bigger spotlight, or at least the intro to a bigger spotlight, that being NACL. We're not able to see those individual performances because there's way more teams and there's not as much coverage. Right. So it's harder to get a spotlight on these players when there's more teams. It's harder to get a spotlight on these players when there is a fucking format that it feels like it's so difficult to actually look at individual talent. So yeah, it's alarming for the OQs.
Yeah.
And also I just think on top of that, like you said, there's less prestigious orgs participating.
Yeah, and I don't even
prestige is gone.
Yeah, and I don't even mean it about exposure in regards to some of these newer players not getting shots either.
Right, but it's still important.
Yeah, I mean the exposure is important too, but I think the point I was getting at also was that it's also difficult because the orgs like aren't as, because there's fewer like real organized, you know, or companies, or, you know, at least like a couple driven individuals that, you know, you would struggle to call a company, but still, there's fewer like real organized organizations, which feels like a stupid pair of words to say together. I need to pick a better adjective or better noun. Because there's less organization in general, the people are just playing with their friends, right? People are just playing with people that they already know or that they've been on teams with before. Like when you let the players GM, they don't go for people that they don't know. And they go with people that they've played with before under, you know, when orgs were scouting talent and putting people together that they think would gel together well. And they did have, you know, coaching staffs and stuff like that. I think just the percentage of participating teams and the straight up number of participating teams that have like real staff like that, I think is lower than it has been in the past.
Yeah, I mean, there's been like less organizations, I think, popping up. Part of me thinks this is, I mean, it's a factor of reasons, right? I could be that guy, and I mean, I've gone on record saying I think the root of all our problems is simply lack of people coming into the scene. Like lack of actual children playing this game nowadays, I think is seriously what is causing the scene to run on empty at the current moment. But like on top of that, it kind of almost feels like there was a bubble that burst in the past couple of years, particularly around COVID, right? Like COVID, 2020, 2021, 2022, even, you had like organizations coming in because they had nothing better to do. They were stuck inside, locked away with no key, and like participating in all of these events. Now, though, it's a little bit more difficult, right? Like we no longer have AOE. We no longer have Team Ambition. We no longer have Polestar. Say what you will about those organizations and, possibly the controversies that they provided along with their names and their pedigree, but they had pedigree at least. And so you could always expect them to make it somewhat far. All those organizations and more are gone now. And I think the newer ones are not coming in nearly as frequently as we would like to see. That's why I have a lot of respect for organizations like Milk, right? Even organizations that participate to a less frequent standpoint like Komodo, right? Like these are organizations that remind me of those previous ones that stood around the 2020, 2022 marker. And the fact that they aren't as frequent, I think, is what is causing a lot of these independent teams where, like you said, Gordo, they're just kind of playing with their friends to actually form. And then imagine those teams win it all or something like that, and all of a sudden they're in a financial bind when they go into NACL. So it feels like the transition is getting a lot harder because the money isn't there, and teams that exist for fun aren't able to actually stay afloat in a league that they are, competing to participate in. So it's all colors and shades and sounds of fucked up is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that is just that. I think, and saying too quickly feels weird here because, like, I mean,
life moves fast, man.
I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to imply that it's like, oh, if Riot had been somehow like, if we behaved differently, we could have scammed more money out of people with too much of it. It just feels like it's not really the goal.
Suck just a little bit more cock, yeah.
Yeah, but like, we could have done that, right? Like, I think Riot gave up the ghost with this NACL thing too fast. And I think especially with they should have stepped in at the end of last year when revenue share was 0 and been like, okay, come on, revenue share is not 0. Here's a little bit of dough, everybody. Like that. They should have just done that, right? I think that would have done a lot for confidence in the space. Even though this is never gonna really make money, like I just don't think you're ever gonna get that kind of viewership for tier 2 to like be a profitable advertising focused league.
Yeah.
But that was the gimmick, right? That was the selling point. That was what they sold to these orgs when they killed off Academy, was we're going to get sponsorships and we're going to get Twitch sub revenue, and you guys are going to operate as independent organizations, and you're going to get, buyout money from the LTA teams when they come and get your players, and you're going to get revenue share, and you're going to get sponsorships, and you're going to yada, yada, yada. LTA is going to, LCS is going to lead right into NACL, and you're going to get all these viewers on the raid. Like this was the proposal, and now then we got hit with revenue share 0, and also there's like one sponsor and it's a guides website, and now there's the games are played in the middle of the workday on weekdays now, and it's like that whole facade just fell away so goddamn quickly, and the prize pool's cut in to like a third of what it was. Like all the opportunities for these orgs to make money. Like, they didn't pay off on their revenue share for the first year, and then they just fucking tore down everything. And it's like it just shattered confidence in an industry where, like, you have been able to get a lot of people to blow a lot of money on not very much proof of something working. But you can't prove that it doesn't work this hard in 1 year and not shake these people, and eventually they're, I don't know, dude. I love this scene and I love this league, but it's such a shame to be like, you ran out of suckers. You needed more suckers and you ran out, and you haven't kept up the facade well enough to get more people to keep doing this.
Yeah, and I think it just starts off at the ground level, right? Like, I think open qualifiers have been like, even for someone who is, much newer to the scene than someone like you, Gordo, right? Like, I started casting open qualifiers. My first cast was with you. Actually, I don't even know if you remember. It was at the start of 2024 when you were like, "Yo, want to fill in because TDS is out today." And I was
thought
like,
this
"Sure."
was ACL, but
nope.
Okay.
Well, that was the first cast I ever had with you, but open qualifiers, my first partner was you. Like, even back then, like, it felt like there was an essence of mysticism and like hope at the end of the day. And like, now I look at the orgs, and I don't want to say it's completely hopeless, but I do want to say that it feels like the elements that made me excited were really lost over the past year and a half. And you can blame the advertising, you can blame Drew Levin, you can blame, fucking Near Airport for all I care, because they hyped up the shit in spring and now nothing has been able to live up to that because we don't have double lift. But at the end of the day, like it's a combination of like a dozen things. And it feels like if we wanted to talk about the things that fucked up open qualifiers, like we could make a whole episode on that.
Yeah,
right?
I could
Even
tie
if we had
myself
all
into
4 of
knots
us.
linking this back to the argument with Drew and all sorts of other things about resources.
So
and I'm fighting that urge because otherwise we're going to be here on this subject for forever.
But like the point is, because we don't want to stay on it forever, the point is, at the end of the day, we're like, the scene is shooting itself in the foot. And I feel, and I'm going to lay down the gauntlet here. I feel like if 2025's open qualifiers are not different, even in the most, what?
2026 is right. This is the last.
2026 is. Yeah. 2020. If 2026's qualifiers are not any different, even if it is the most minute detail, the most granular element changed, if nothing changes, I would be very worried about just in general the ability for talent to exist in the next few years. Like, because now I was talking a little bit with this to Yanni earlier this week, but I was like, listen, now that we have now that like there is no financial way for players to keep themselves afloat beyond being like an NACL or LTA player, and the age cap has been set at 17 for the open qualifiers, which is, around the time where people start looking for jobs at the latest. I got my first job at 17. Like you're basically getting spawn camped by fucking life. Like the moment you have the ability to actually participate in these open qualifiers, your dad or your mom or your fucking 90-year-old grandma is going to be like, well, you turned 17 today, so it's time to start thinking about your future. Here's a McDonald's job application for your birthday type shit. And so like that just feels awful, right? Like the ability to actually compete in anything Riot backed is already gated by a ridiculous age cap that no other region has. And culture around America doesn't help, right? Where you have to find a job at this time and be more independent. And then just the fact that you don't have anything to show for it because you're not allowed to actually make any money off of League. So all of those factors, I just think, kill the pipeline. If one of those things does not change, adjust, or get better in the next year, I hesitate to even say that like the scene is going to survive another couple of years, because there is a very, 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 very small gray area where players can actually operate and possibly be a player that goes to LTA and is able to make something in North America.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it, right? Is like the ability, the pool of people who can put in the hours necessary to refine the talent, to have the talent necessary, and can put in the hours to refine that talent to the level where it's even worth taking a look at for LTA, is going to continue to shrink. I don't mean to imply that like boosting is the only way that you can expand that area, but it was doing some work, and
it was doing some work for like players and like ordinarily, like as like someone who is also in like the Masters Plus category of players, like I have had encounters with people who have like boosted. Like there have been like I have like literally tracked down boosted players, like people who have been flash on F and then people who have been flash on D. I had a Rel main, surprisingly enough, who had a 93% win rate on I think it was Rengar. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. That is just, you must just be really good at that champ, right? So like I'm not here to imply that intentionally breaking the rules and manipulating the system and compromising League's integrity in terms of competitiveness is like a suitable thing for the scene. But I think just immediately immediately kneecapping it without understanding the repercussions is hasty and slightly irresponsible. I think if they were able to phase that out in a slower, more gradual way, I might be on board. But I think that this is just a extremely quick and easy solution that they're coming up, or not, maybe not easy, but just very quick solution that I think will have consequences that they might not have considered before they.
Well, I mean, and we're reading a lot into like what is a half joking Drew Levin tweet, like talking about, like send me the names of everybody who boosts and we'll ban them. It's not like a
obviously
effort,
it's not that extreme, but it is still like you're not going to be making money off of this game, I think, unless you're
that's
a pro,
definitely their
is the
goal,
main thing.
and that's definitely the stated goal. Yeah, and technically, it's always been the stated goal. The question is, how much is enforcement actually going to change? Like, is it just going to be, a token banning of a few of the most egregious offenders who, again, they, switch the summoner spells and they have, a million different, they're putting bronze players in challenger and it's, becoming a whole thing. Like, it's really, really visible in some way. They're tweeting out their 40-0 runs and stuff like that and drawing attention to it. Like, I wouldn't surprise me if it's just like a few very visible token bannings
bad apples
and an attempt to crack down for a short period of time. Because as I brought up in previous discussions here, and I really want to move off this topic, but one more thing. As I brought up in previous discussions, if you're going to adopt this like heavy enforcement approach, you need to like maintain that it pretty much indefinitely, because if you do this for 6 months and then you start getting really lax with it, then it's gonna go right back to how it is, right? You can't.
Yeah.
This isn't the kind of thing that you can solve once and then it's solved forever. You need to like maintain that level of enforcement if you want to actually eliminate the behavior. And if you're not going to do that, then I don't know what coming in and just fucking with a bunch of semi-pros today is going to accomplish, but within some kind of large ban wave.
Yeah, again, this is a topic where I feel like you could spend hours on it. This in itself could have its own episode, but we should probably move off.
Let's talk about Zamudo.
Let's talk about Zamudo. More shitty news. Yeah, we've been the fun police today, Gordo. So for those of you who don't know, Zamudo, for the past, how many weeks this summer been summering?
It's been 3 weeks.
It's been 3 weeks. For the past
three
plus
best of 3
weeks,
series.
Yeah. For the past 3 or so weeks, Zamudo, who was supposed to, as many people who are watching know, he was supposed to be the top lane starter for Lion. Problem is that he has been having some visa problems. So as a result, Lion have traded him, I think was the verbiage that they used, to the LTA South. So he will be starting in Tier 1, but he won't be doing it here. Fuck. God damn it.
Yeah. I mean, it's good for Zamudo that he ends up with somewhere to actually play.
Of course.
But yeah, I mean, it does seem like the visa stuff has been really messed up for this guy. I've heard lots of crazy rumors about what is exactly holding them up, and I don't know how many of them are true and how many of them
aren't. A lot
of
them are political, which is why I don't want to get into them.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's not. Yeah, and that's not a hard line to draw. As far as that, I have heard some other rumors about like specific like exacerbating factors that are making things weird for Zamudo as an individual. Don't want to get too much into that, but whatever the reason is, it really sucks for this guy. Do feel like it's a little worth shouting out that, having an academy scene that involves people playing in person would certainly help this quite a bit. Maybe one sponsored from the Tier 1 teams. Maybe they would have like a vested interest in that. They could bring over people with their visas when they start playing in Tier 2, so that now when they decide they want to promote them up, they're already there. That's just an interesting little concept I've been cooking up lately that you could maybe consider for the future. Having your backups in person. That aside, I mean, shitty situation for Zamudo. I'm just really, I fear manifesting this, but I like being able to go back and point out how right I was more. So I'm gonna make the call right now. Lion Gaming. It feels bad to have no confidence in an org that's new as well to our league, but I'm gonna go with the no confidence approach.
Yeah.
I bet that Lion Gaming will get distracted by something shiny in the off season, and they will
and
field a
pass them
top
up.
laner that is not Zamudo next year.
See, I agree with you on this. Like, I do think that is a very real possibility, but I would be lying if I said Zamudo wouldn't at least be an NA next year. Like, I think that there are a good chunk of top laners in the LTA North right now who are probably thinking about passing the torch. Like, the most obvious one is like Bwipo probably won't be playing next year. He will be a coach, and Gapgos will be the new FlyQuest top laner. At least that's what, a lot of people have been under the assumption of. Otherwise, why the fuck would they bring in another top laner? They've already literally had Gapgos play a game, by the way. That, and then like I also think like I don't want to get too far into it, but like Impact as well has been playing for a shitload of time, and a lot of people have been questioning. Even his own fucking coach, Spawn, has been being like, we need to get his first 8 minutes down because they are not what they were last year. So I think there are a decent amount of top laners who might get passed up, like veteran top laners who might get passed up, and I do think Zamudo should be at the top of the list when it comes to who you should actually be picking up for native North American players. Surdy as well, I think, makes that list. We didn't really get to talk about it, but Surdy got to fill in for
He's been playing
Lion.
very well.
And he played fucking awesome. He's been playing great. So, Dig was the problem all along, by the way. Big shocker on that shit. But for real, like there's a bunch of players like those two should totally be starting next year. I hate to have confidence in North America because I feel like every time I do, they let me down, but fuck it, man. I'm going to have I need to. I'm just going to have some confidence that these players should be in our region, and they won't get like Yukonode to EU or Jojo Piund to EU, I guess would be the better player example.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That would be a fucking travesty.
Unfortunately, Zamudo is 21, so I can't update my tweet. This region that has 0 young talent has exported. The count is still at 3. We've exported 3 players under the age of 20 in the last year. Zamudo,
Jojo, Yukino, and
current CBLOL player
Griffin.
Yeah.
No, wait. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
You got it.
I was thinking
Griffin is Sniper's age. Or actually, Yukino's Sniper's age. Griffin's a year younger, I think.
Yeah, no, he is. I was thinking specifically to Europe. Yeah, it's Griffin.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that doesn't happen next year. But like recently it has been, obviously. Still though, it fucking blows. Like, obviously, I think that Lion were under the impression they probably like weren't gonna make worlds going into having roster swaps for top lane. Which is fine, right? I think that Lion were definitely looking for Zamudo to be like a centerpiece, a rookie that they could build around. I think that's part of the reason why they made the change in summer, because they realized that their chances of actually going to an international event were slim to none, so they might as well build up for next year. So I wouldn't be at all shocked if like Lion don't look for something shiny, but I would be even more shocked if one of these teams doesn't look at Zamudo and try to bring him into the fold, because I do think he has a lot of talent. He's shown that in and out, and we've had this discussion multiple times, so I'm not going to rehash the confidence that we have in this player, and the confidence that he has earned from so many in the scene.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those 8 teams makes me nervous always. There's always going to be worthy players left on the outskirts at 8 teams.
Yeah, I mean, listen, honestly, like, I would like to return to 10 teams someday. That day is not today, and it is definitely not tomorrow or the next day.
I think they just need to do it with guest teams, man. Just add more guest spots. I really do think that. I mean obviously,
we better fucking hope that gambling sponsorship pans out, bro.
I know.
Who
knows? I know why it hasn't happened. I'm just saying I think it needs to happen.
No, I agree.
I mean, or at least give 100 Thieves make 100 Thieves another guest spot once they're gone. Like, there needs to be more than one. I know that's not the plan, but it should be the plan.
I agree.
Make Dignitas a guest spot, just for funsies.
Make Dignitas the fucking jester, bro. I like can't listen. By the beginning of this year, I was like kind of like listen. You, Gordo, have been the perennial Dignitas hater here on the show, and
I
like at the
used
beginning,
to. What's crazy is like beginning of my esports career, I would defend them a little bit. I would give them a
yeah,
little
and
bit
like
of.
I would die, but like it's the same way with me. Like beginning of the year, I would defend them a little bit, and I'd be like, Gordo, you got to chill out, okay? The yellow alien didn't do nothing to you. Now
They've actually done a lot to me.
I am in the same boat as you. Like I have nothing. Like the only thing I have is like Shaden, and I think Shaden's a good player and kind of funny sometimes because he's not trying to be. Um, I'm gonna stop talking before we get more into Shaden though. So yeah.
I mean, I don't even. It doesn't even have to be about the players. You know, it's just the org is a mess.
And that's the only reason Damwon has any fans is because of Showmaker.
Yeah, but I mean, like back in the day, like I remember like end of 2022, I remember arguing a little bit with like Dom on Twitter about like they were like, why would you ever possibly trade River? And it's like, well, because you're like 3-15.
I'm so sad we're losing him next year, man.
I am
Fuck
too,
my
but it
life.
was like, but like 2022 summer is like River's the only good player, and it's like, well, because this team is gonna go fucking like this team is like 1-8 or whatever they are at the time that they're trading him. It's like they're not gonna make
This was the double
playoffs.
F Bjergsen one or no?
Um, that split. This is 22 summer,
Oh, this is
so
22 summer, so no.
yeah. I mean, that's when the trade happened. That sent River to Golden Guardians.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you can conceptually see how it's like they were worth it to flip him for cash considerations when you know you're not going to win anyway, and focus on bringing up XU because he's going to be the future, yada yada yada. And then they punt that so fucking fast, as they always do, man, as they always do.
And then Surdy is gonna. I'm so excited to work as Mr. Bakery himself. I'm so excited to work with Surdy. Like this is gonna be the future of our org. Go fuck yourself. Like, yeah,
It's
no.
bad.
I mean, we've shit on Dignitas all year. We don't need to keep doing it. But you know why we fucking hate Dignitas. You know why everyone fucking hates Dignitas. Like Dignitas is like two fans, and they're like rats or something. I don't know. Like a rat and a fucking hamster that watch.
They're praying for relief, dude. Give them a break. But yeah, no, it's got to be. I don't know. It remains tough, dude. It remains tough. All right, let's get into NACL playoffs. NACL got into 2 rounds of playoffs so far. They've been we've only had 2 best of 5s so far, but we have had 2 eliminations from those best of 5s. I mean, first things first round of the brackets, we get, I would say, 3 upsets.
I
don't know. Did you have Conviction or Citadel on your bingo card?
I had Conviction. So no.
Okay, so for you it's 2 upsets. For me, I think I would say it's 3. Either way, I mean, that was a close matchup for Conviction Citadel. Dorado and Blue Otter are both definitely upsets.
Yeah, no. I agree with you. Blue Water that was a really fun series to watch. Like I thoroughly enjoyed that. This is not a good look for ACL, by the way. The fact that the technically three NACL teams that we have in ACL, one of them is eliminated, one of them is in the lower bracket, and one of them didn't even make playoffs. Are we frauds? No, I'm kidding. But for real, like, I think it was a combination of Blue Otter playing well and Supernova absolutely shitting the bed. Like, yep. I expected a way better performance from Hoarder in particular, and I don't think we got that. I was very surprised. So, obviously, they did 3-1 Citadel, and they looked pretty good while doing it. So, maybe they'll be able to return to form. But Dorado 2-0 Dark Steel, or Dark Zero. So I wish I could say I was confident in either one of these teams winning, but I do think this would be a 5-game banger. If I'm being honest, I would not be surprised if this was 5 games in the lower bracket.
Yeah, against Dark Zero. I mean, I could see it too. It's been, I didn't catch all of the Winthrop Dark Zero series.
No, same.
I tuned
didn't.
out a bit after it became clear that Dark Zero was going to win, and then when I found out that Dark Zero just continued to win, I was like, all right, not my biggest priority to go back and figure out what happened there. I'm going to guess more of the same. Apologies if anything earth-shattering happened in that game number 3, but I've seen the scoreboard and it doesn't look like it. But yeah, I mean, I think in the Dorado series, it's very interesting. Like, it feels like there's a lot of moments where they just like underestimate the burst damage coming in from stuff like Sushi's Jin. Like that Sushi Jin game was insane.
I have to. I'm glad you brought up Sushi because this has been the thing that we said from when NACL was like about to start and all the rosters were revealed, and we said like doing our power rankings, the biggest contingent on Dorado doing well and being able to look as dominant as they did in the promotion tournament was Sushi being able to fight his late game or fight his early game laning phase demons, overcome that, and be able to survive against players like Sajet and Tactical. Better late than never is what I have to say. Like I would say looked like one of the worst players on Dorado in the regular season. Like I think his laning phase woes really got him fucked up for a lot of the times. But this series, he looked like a totally different player in the laning phase. Like I think that he overcame those challenges. If he manages to do that against Supernova, I do actually think Dorado win. If Dorado can keep up that form, I think we're going to be seeing them against the winner of Dark Zero Blue Water. So huge ups to Sushi. That was like a generational series from him, in my opinion. Yeah, like that was a redemption series for sure.
Yeah, I mean, definitely props to him for that one. I still do, it's not like they parlayed that into slamming LG's bot lane, So I do.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, so I'm not sure that I'm 100% like he's over it and he can go toe to toe with anybody right
but
off
he can
the bat.
Get over it, which I think is something that
he's able
were worried he couldn't.
He's showing that little bit of additional promise, the kind of stuff, the kind of flashes that'll get you a spot in the NACL next split, which is good. I think he probably would have gotten one anyway, but you like to be sure, especially when guys like Levitate are breathing down your neck and looking really good in Tier 3. Could talk about that a little bit later. Regardless of your thoughts on Whole Milk, Levitate is fucking him. Very good player, and he's not the only one. As Chrome playing into OQ as well. Somebody else you got to be worried about.
Chrome, I think, is honestly... Look, Chrome, I think, is more egregious than Levitate. I think they're like tied neck and neck practically, but I would give like... Chrome, just that little like pinky finger.
No, yeah, I think Chrome. I would give Chrome more than the pinky finger. I think Chrome's ahead, but I just don't bring him up because he's kind of not in the NACL by choice, because he took Levitate's job and then forfeited his job because he couldn't make the schedule work. I think ostensibly that's what it was. Who knows what happens behind closed doors, but I think those are the big upsets here. Anything that crazily stands out about? I mean, Conviction's 4-0.
Yeah, Conviction looked really good. That was the last thing I wanted to bring up. Like so listen.
LG.
Yeah. Which is gonna be a great upper bracket final, by the way. That's gonna be really fun. I think everyone should tune in that. But
oh yeah,
Conviction. Like I know there are a lot of people that do not like this Conviction roster. And they have every right not to like this Conviction roster because of what happened in the offseason and just the fact that I think the idea of them going from a development team to like a Temu streamer team is kind of disheartening. But you can't even lie, this team is actually kind of fucking good at the video game. Like Perry, I think, has been a huge overperformer, and I'm a fan of him. But last time we saw Perry in the NACL, I was not very impressed. Last time we saw fucking Evolved was so long ago that I didn't think he still had it. Last time we saw Stunt in the NACL was a disaster. Blade was good, but we weren't sure if he would be able to transition from having teammates like Doublelift and Pobelter to what he had in Conviction, what he has in Conviction. This team has somehow come together, and the biggest surprise is not those 4 players, it's Viper. Viper might just be the most mechanically intense ADC in this league. Like, in terms of raw hands, I might put Viper as the best mechanical ADC. Maybe not the best ADC overall, but if there was any marksman player that I trusted to make the outplay with these two bad boys right here, sorry, my camera only shows one. These two bad boys right here, it would be Viper. I don't know how he does it. He's really fucking good at this role, and I'm very impressed. So massive props to this team. Even if you're a hater, you can't deny that these guys got conviction. Yeah.
Joke aside, yeah, I mean, I continue to... I've been high on this team since the regular season. I think it's not a surprise for them to beat Blue Otter. It's a surprise for Blue Otter to be their opponents. But, you know, I don't want to say that Blue Otters, you know, like right back to regular season form, but I do think, you know, I went on the record already saying that I think Conviction, even though they didn't play in the regular season, Conviction was probably a tough matchup for Blue Otter, just because of how hard they play the laning phase and how good they are in those earlier stages at generating their own leads, and then they have a lot of experience to fall back on for being.
They're
able
the
to
most
play it out
explosive
later
team in NACL. Like, if there's a team that like just grabs you by the fucking throat, I would say it's this team. Like, right from the get-go, they are just like firing on all cylinders, which is great, because I feel like there are a lot of teams. Like I'm gonna throw Dorado in this, to be honest with you. Like, I think Dorado in particular is like a team that really likes to take their time and wait until they can actually group up. I think they're the complete antithesis of Conviction, which would be a really cool series, but probably one Conviction will win if we're being honest with ourselves.
Yeah, So, I mean, Conviction, LG is going to... I think LG is a little bit in that camp as well, so it'll be interesting to see how that BO5
Tactical versus Viper. Let's go.
Yeah. Tactical's... I mean, Tactical's fighting for the soul of the AD carry position here, man. He's got to, like...
And, yeah, he has to work fucking overtime, because not only has Viper been performing, but, like, Sajed has seriously been like the best player in NACL.
If Tactical doesn't win this series, we might see Riven bot in pro play. Like, that's... I think you could draw a straight line from one to the other. If Viper is the best AD carry in the NACL, people might start paying attention to what he's picking, and it might start to trickle over a little bit. So yeah, Tactical, if you're for the soul of your role, you're gonna need to win this series. You're gonna need to blow out all the stops.
LTA only watchers are gonna be so fucking confused if Conviction make it into the promotion tournament as an actual contender. They're gonna be like, Viper, what the fuck is he doing in the AD carry role? Like, yeah,
dude, the funniest
that'd be funny.
The funniest,
or no, they're gonna say I thought that guy was on Hanwha. What the fuck,
dude? I was talking to the funniest thing would be Conviction Supernova in the promo tournament, because I was talking with Sean about this the other day, because we were having a discussion about our last episode where we had a lot of discussion about Dardoch as a leader and as a shot caller, and you know how good he is at like organizing teams and setting up rookies for success and stuff like that. And it's like, dude, I was telling him, I don't know what the... I don't think that the tier 2 fan base is big enough for this to really matter. Like, they probably wouldn't even... They would just get drowned out.
That's a good point.
But it would be so funny to watch, like, the tier 2 fan base narrative of, like, Dardoch as this wise mentor who's so great with rookies collide with the average tier 1 fan's opinion of Dardoch in, like, real time as he qualifies back to pro play. That would be so fucking crazy if you're in a world where, like, 90% of fans think that Dardoch is like a monster and a disaster for your roster waiting to happen, and 10% of fans are like, no, he is the calming voice on this team. It would be so fucking funny to watch play out.
Yeah, that would be really entertaining. Like, now that I think about it, Dardoch and then Viper pull up, and then everyone's gonna be like, oh yeah, it's been like... How long has it been since Dardoch fucking played in tier 1? It's been like 5 years
at least, I think.
Oh my god, Dardoch 5 years later is still fighting for tier 1. How washed up is this region type shit? Like, yeah, man, for sure. That would be really fun, though. I agree. Overall,
that moment when you realize that XU and Shaden and Yuji and this whole generation of junglers didn't actually have to play against Dardoch because he was fucking around in other scenes or playing support.
Yep. I don't have much else to say. Overall, I've even though almost all of the best of threes so far that we've had, and best of fives, I guess, have been stomps. Like, the only resistance that we've had was the Supernova Blue Water, which went to 3, and then the Supernova Citadel, which went to 4. Most of it has been just 2-0s or 3-0s. It's still been really fun. Like, to be honest, I think the big thing that really annoys me is, and again, we have to say it every episode, Gordo, we just always come back to this shit, is I am not as behind these teams. I'm not as big a fan of these teams because I haven't seen as much of them as I should have. The best of ones, I think, have really fucked the interest levels of the playoffs for a good amount of people. I have still watched them, but I honestly can't blame people who are yeah, I don't really know these teams that well to actually, go back and bother with best of ones. So I didn't get invested, so I'm just not going to watch. That is a perfectly valid,
and it's a shame to
frame of mind.
LG is going to qualify a team to the LTA promotion match.
Yeah, and no one's going to give a fuck, I feel, which
I know that it's that, and I struggle to give a fuck. So I mean, I get it, dude. It's rough.
Yeah, it really sucks. Please change the format. Don't ever use this format again. Best of ones need to be more extinct than the fucking dinosaurs.
It's bad. Yeah, I can't get behind best of one format. Not a good choice. It's also it's weird. It feels like we restarted the whole season. The fact that spring barely meant anything, and that so many orgs went mega budget and then built totally new teams, is and the fact that Dark Zero got ripped apart at mid-season, it's
yeah.
There's Winthrop and LG are the only two teams in this bracket that are teams that existed in spring. Everybody else has at least 3 new players.
Yep, or
is a whole new org.
Or it's a whole new org. Yeah, I mean, it's rough. I don't like it.
And even if it was, even if it were different, even if it wasn't the orgs who recently qualified, it would still be over 3 players different because CCG also did a roster overhaul.
Yep, so, and Jolly Rogers,
team.
Vancouver Impact are new to the league. So, yeah, really fucking blows. It's harder to emotionally get behind this playoffs, the one that matters more than it was in spring, because best of ones did not set these teams up for any kind of narrative. That, I think, is kind of wrapping a bow on this topic. Now, though, Gordo, I think
the real playoffs, the playoffs we care about.
The real shit, the real test about if you're an actual good League of Legends player or not. And the reason why a lot of viewers are probably here on this video, and you probably skipped to this point in the video to hear us yap about this, it's the ACL Playoffs, Gordo. Finally, we're here.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think this has been a really interesting regular season format that's gotten us to this place. I've heard a lot of really positive feedback about it. I think I say that every episode, but it remains true. I'm still getting an influx of feedback, and all of it is positive. So I'm very excited to see what kind of playoff bracket it produces for us. I do think that the context of those NACL playoffs makes some of this very interesting because, Citadel comes in as the #1 seed because they slammed Supernova in ACL seeding matches.
And they're fucking gone.
But now, Supernova just eliminated Citadel 3-1 in NACL playoffs. So, I think, and I still think this CCG team could be better than they let on, and Winthrop was my pick for a dark horse team to do well in playoffs. That's what I said when I was on Salty Runback last week. They're eliminated, so they're going to have to do it as Papa's Chonks in ACL if anybody's going to make a little bit of a dark horse run here. So, I think at least with Citadel and Supernova are definitely the favorites, but I think it's actually kind of hard to pick a hard favorite here. recency bias favors Supernova, and perceived strength probably favors Supernova as well. But the Citadel's winning in these ACL matches when they play against each other, so
I also
it's gonna be
think
interesting.
I'm gonna be a bit of a stickler here, though. Personally, looking at the bracket, which I think we should try to link below this video so that people can follow along.
I have the ACL. I've had the ACL sheet linked below every video
cool.
for as long as we've been doing this.
I look at CCG's road, and I think it's probably the easiest. Like, Sin Eternal Season is a team they should probably 2-0. And then I think AMI and Mint, although I think that series will be competitive, I would imagine CCG, maybe they drop a game if it's AMI, because I would probably favor AMI there. But like, they shouldn't run into a roadblock until Supernova. And then Supernova are going to have to go against either Gravity or Milk, two teams that I've gone on record saying are like the dark horses of the ACL.
I probably agree that it's the easiest path, but I do also think that CCG is inconsistent enough that they could drop a best of 3 to AMI.
I disagree, but I feel like that is a healthy disagreement.
Yeah, I mean,
if CCG lose to AMI, I don't know. I'm already.
I don't think it's likely.
I'm already not in the good graces of a good amount of CCG. I think people. So I don't know.
I don't think it's likely, but I think it's possible. So
sure. Maybe.
Yeah, that's as far as I'll go. I mean, I think if they show up and play like a smart, controlled game, that they should definitely be favored. I think they have like better players pound for pound, but I have seen them show up and look a little silly sometimes, get a little silly with it. So especially the NACL stage. So we'll see if they can kind of have a little bit more consistency as they look to probably amp up for promo relegation somewhat, as they still don't even know who their opponents are.
Yeah, I think that CCG team, looking at the OQ rosters, I think CCG should be good enough to retain their spot, but I don't want to jinx it. I still like CCG as an org, even though I've been like the big naysayer of CCG on the show along with PBS. We predicted it, by the way. I'm just gonna say. I still like the org, and I would like them to remain in the NACL. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Other kind of interesting matchups, though, that I mentioned in my tweet, actually, that I just posted earlier today. Lotus Prosperity. Gordo, I'm
taking that for the stream, brother. I'm
sorry.
Fuck
you. I was literally going to be like, yo, can I take this one for the Salt Mine?
If it's not rescheduled, I'm pretty sure I'm taking it.
Fuck. Okay. This is going to be the closest series. Yes. This one's exciting. This is literally going to be a ping gap. Is the German player playing from Germany stronger than the Icelandic guy playing in Iceland? Only time
I thought you were just
going
to say, is he stronger than Kongji?
No, bro. We've got two people playing from EU in this series, plus Kongji, who's playing from Neptune sometimes, I swear. So yeah, sure. But dude, this is Kongji, I kid, by the way, if you're watching. You're chilling, my guy. This series looks fucking awesome. I am extremely envious that you guys get to cover this on the Aegis channel. Who knows? Maybe like TDS's internet will get like struck by a meteorite or something, and I'll be able to fill in.
Bro, he's in Colombia. You don't need like divine intervention. Like it just goes out sometimes. Just give him you can just cross your fingers. You don't need
Carlos.
You don't need a meteorite,
motherfucker. Please, man. Yeah, no, this looks like the coolest series. I would put a little bit of stock into Deathmark Cupid. I think it's probably clear that Cupid should just 2-0 this, because they've been a really good team. They're also another dark horse, I feel.
Yeah. I know. Although I do want to give props to Deathmark Napoleon for being here.
They are good.
Yeah,
like,
I think they were, I was high on them at the beginning of the season. I was talking about them a lot, and then they were our first featured match, and it was Weber, right? I think they just got shellacked by Weber, and I let peer pressure
No,
clamp down on
I
me.
I think Tommy, Verdict, and Zephyr, that top side has been really good when we streamed them this last week. Like, I've been very impressed with them. I don't know how they're going to fare against Cupid. Probably not the best, but I do think that this is a series that you could put a little bit of stock in to Napoleon, and you might not be disappointed if they take like a game.
Yeah. But yeah, and it was Weber, by the way. Yeah, it's like,
okay,
I was high on
you know what?
team.
Actually, you could keep I'm looking at this shit. You can keep Lotus Prosperity. I am taking Gravity Milk because I think that is probably the other exciting series. So, if there was one team that I was rooting for, that I would call myself a fan of. Look, I know I'm supposed to be unbiased on the broadcast. I'm not on the broadcast right now, so you can all fuck off. I would be a Gravity fan. I think I love this team.
Dude, I love that. Did you see it was Fiji's tweet earlier, right? Of him getting in the Nautilus mindset of.
And then they played the sonar.
Dumpa getting in the Nautilus mindset. Yeah, dude, that was awesome.
Dude, that shit was funny as fuck. I really like Gravity as a team. I think that, and I also really like Milk as an org, though. These are two teams that I think are everything I want to see in the North American scene as a whole. New organizations that bring up really nice talent, are able to go with good results, and have a decent amount of social following. Although I do think that last part, they could work on a little bit. But
it was Asila who tweeted it, by the way.
That comes with time. Yeah. It was
sorry to steal your clout, Asila.
I think that series is the most exciting. So I'm really looking forward to that, along with Prosperities and Lotuses. Like, those are the dark horses, in my opinion. Like, those are the guys that are going to be like, if there was like a DRX 2022 of the ACL summer, I think one of these two teams would be that.
Yeah, I think that's definitely fair. I like their chances as a team that could have something come together for a little bit of a run here. I think Supernova Komodo going to be a slam for Supernova. Fucking Alorum thinks it's going to be a slam for Supernova, as he told us in the post-match interview yesterday. So I don't even feel bad about that one.
Dude, the fact that he didn't even know the rosters for the top 4 teams and asked if it was double elimination.
Dude, it was so
my
fun.
Goat. My goat.
I don't know why.
Chronically offline goat.
I don't know why such a percentage of this episode is dedicated to us talking about conversations we had with other people in the last week, but I'm going to do another one of those. I was talking with Yanni last night about formats for the future, and he's like kind of pitching the LPL format for future ACLs, which I think is an interesting idea.
What are we going to have? What are we going to name group? What are we going to name?
Well, because Duan's kind of shopping that idea around a little bit too about doing
right.
Like,
yeah, I saw him on Twitter, but like
groups.
Group Ascension and then Group Nirvana versions in the ACL. So what would we have? We would have Group. We have to have some like fucking hilarious name for Nirvana.
I would think about it.
Nirvana.
Foo Fighters.
We could do them off of elements because it's like NACL is like salt, right?
Ooh.
So we could do like Group. Fucking, I don't know. We could do like Group Iron or something, like Group FE. I don't know.
We'll think about it.
That's a fun comment discussion. If you have an
either
idea.
way, I was like the biggest risk of doing a format like that to me is that the players will not learn it and will get frustrated when they don't understand what's happening in regards to like who they are facing. I literally had that conversation last night, and I was just like, and he's like, "That's true, man." I'm like, "Bro, I had a Loravod yesterday, and he did not know that playoffs are double elim. I can't try to explain LPL format to these guys." But maybe I can. Maybe I can, because they handled this splits format pretty well. So maybe they can.
Yeah.
Maybe the players can be trusted.
I think this splits format was like at a glance a little bit complicated. So if people are able to process and kind of swallow this, I think
it's a good bridge to do something like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Hey man, ACL just keeps winning, and hey, fall, I'm just looking forward to.
Fall's gonna be awesome. Wait, let's talk about AMI Mint a little bit too. That's the one.
Sure.
That's the one good series we didn't talk about. No offense to any other series, but I think the top 4 seeds are going to beat the bottom 4 seeds.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's a bold take.
I would probably take Apex in this one.
Me too.
Think I'm trying to think about. I'm trying to explain why though. I think Protoss has been having a really good split. I think Protoss and Low Jazz have actually been pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they have been what has allowed Decoy and Retrizing to be a lot more effective on the map. I think that if you have, kind of support A and support B, support B being the jungler, just constantly roaming around and making plays on solo lanes, then this is a team that should function really well. And I feel like Apex is kind of like that. And then Baz, more or less, on things like the Ezreal and some of those late game carries, is able to be that insurance. This is a team that I think has a very figured out formula, but one that works for them. And I don't know if I would say Mint necessarily have a formula outside of get Foles as many fucking kills and gold and all of this shit as possible and see if he can carry, because we work best when we just blitz the game and fuck you over in 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I think my explanation as to why would be I do think Decoy and Low Jazz and Baz improved from their time at NACL. I think that split was good for all of them, and I think they come back to Tier 3. As many players who go up to Tier 2 do, I think they come back to Tier 3 and look more dominant than they did when they left. I think Levitate's a good example of that, too. Even though Whole Milk hasn't been putting up the best results, Levitate has been putting up quite good results. And you could just, tell that it's oh, yeah, this guy's been playing in a tougher environment for the last, year. It's just very plainly clear, and I think I think the same can be said for I think Low Jazz is in that category. I think he looks very good at this level, fresh off of scrimming with Blue Otter and things like that. And I really like the coaching staff they've got for themselves here. I think Pocus, as he transitions away, is really good. I think this is good for guys like Protoss and Retrizing to have that kind of confidence put in them as well. I really liked when we had Pocus on the post-match interview earlier this split, and he was talking about how he thinks there are young talented players who don't get opportunities to play with good teammates, so their stock stays deflated. And obviously he's talking about Retrozig and Protoss, what else? The rest are existing teammates. So obviously he's talking about the players that he's gotten for this team. And they've still got Hyph there as well, who I think has been a good coach for them for a while, while they were while Pocus was still competing. So they've got both of them now in house. So I'm very excited for what their run is going to look like. I think they're coming in as seed 1 for the OQ as well, and I think they are a candidate to potentially make another run to the promo tournament, as well as a deep run here in ACL playoffs. I think them, and I've said it before, but I still believe. I think them, Cupid, and Gravity dares to sneak into that tier with me as well. I don't think I quite have them there yet, but a good series against Milk could push them into that category, perhaps, of being in a tier with those other 2 teams just below the 4 NACL teams, who I have as a firm tier 1.
I agree with you. You're not gonna hear much pushback.
You don't have Gravity in that tier yet? I know you're a Gravity fan.
I would probably put Gravity in that tier only because I feel like this team has such high upswing, and I feel like they're going to be able to accomplish that.
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I have them there after they, I think there's a world where they 2-0 Milk, and then I probably have them there. But if they don't, that is where things could change.
Yeah.
Or that is where they could stay where they currently are for me. All right. Well, we got a lot covered in this one. Anything else you wanted to talk about, Quax, or should we close this out? We're at a little bit over an hour here, so I think we did.
No, I mean, if we do an episode next week, I think we're going to be finding ourselves with 2 best of... No. Wait. 1, 2...
we talking about NACL?
Yeah,
or
yeah,
are we talking about...
Yeah, we're gonna have 2 NACL best of 5s to talk about.
I mean, if we record our normal time, we're gonna have no NACL best of 5s to talk about. We're gonna have
That's
only
true. That's fucking
ACLs.
true. Yeah. We'll have stuff to talk about next week.
You bet we will, every week. Believe it or not, things will continue to happen. Time will move forward, and we'll talk about whatever happens in that time. Until then, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will catch you next time.